Hello, in this video we will understand about the peripheral nerve injury classification. So what is the peripheral nerve injury? Let's begin to understand. So first of all we will understand about the nervous system, the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system contains CNS, thus contain brain and spinal cord. While the peripheral nervous system contains sensory neuron and motor neuron. Sensory is the for sensation and motor is used for the muscle contraction. So the sensory neuron and motor neurons, let's begin to understand the myelinated neuron for understanding. Because the motor neuron is specially myelinated. So this is the soma and the nucleus are present which that is contained genetic material. While this is a synaptic node which that is the end terminal of the containing neurotransmitter vesicle will release to stimulate the another neuron through synapse. This is the distance which that is myelinated Schwann cell wrapping around the axon between soma and the end terminal for impulse transmission. Let's discuss about the vertebrae and where the spinal cord is present and how it can be injured, how it can dysfunction through injury. So this is the spinal cord contains spine, which that is vertebrae, and this vertebra contain which that is contain bone and attached with a disc. This is the peripheral nerves. These peripheral nerves arise from the spinal cord. The spinal cord which that is used for the conduction and for the conduction of the body, for movement and give the response. This is the A, B and C situation for the injury, for the damaging of the neuron. In this way you can see this is the avulsion. In this way the detachment from the spinal cord, this peripheral nerve, while the stretch and rupture. Rupture mean the breakdown and the stretch mean the damage and stretching. Let's begin to understand the Seddon's classification. The Seddon's classification, let's begin to understand for better understanding how the injury can occur and why the classification is important. So the neuropraxia is a class 1. In this way, it is temporary interruption of the conduction without loss of axonal continuity. Physiological block of the nerve conduction in the affected axon. This is the soma and this is the contain the epineurium is the yellowish color. Orange color is the perineurium and endoneurium contain axons. The bundle of the neurons is known as the ganglia, and this is the axon, remember. So this is the neuropraxia. In this way, basically physiological block of nerve conduction in the affected axon, while the axonomesis. This axonomesis is the class 2. In this way the bulging inside, basically the bulge in this neuron, and which that will lead to lesion, and that is why the affected will conduction will impossible, and there are sensory axonomesis and motor deficits distal to the site of lesion. So the no nerve conduction and basically, and in this way there are sensory and motor deficits distal to the site of lesion. This is the proximal and this is the distal side and this is the lesion. It involves loss of the relative continuity of the axon and its covering of myelin, but preservation of the connective tissue framework of the nerve. Let's begin to understand the neuromesis. This neuromesis is the class 3. classification of the Seddon's classification. In this way, the neuromasses, which that is basically here, the complete transaction and lesion cause, which that will lead to sensory motor problem, autonomic function problem, and no nerve conduction and distal to the lesion site. And in this way, the no nerve conduction because the completely transaction and lesion, the complete transaction, which that is problem. So the no nerve conduction distal to the lesion site. Anyway, let's begin to understand the major structure of the neuron and further going on to understand the peripheral nerve injury. So this is the dendrites and soma. This is the damaged myelin sheath. The Schwann cell will be damaged and the unhealthy axon. It is known as a multiple sclerosis. This multiple sclerosis can cause due to the different complication. And on the other hand, here is the alcoholic intoxication, which that will lead to dead neurons. And due to the red blood cell are stuck together in the blood circulatory system, will not provide the complete oxygen, so the hypoxia will lead to cause death of the neuron. Concept of the diffuse axonal injury, let's begin to understand. Basically, the diffuse axonal injury means the differing density in neuron create the shearing force. The shearing force is basically due to the shearing force due to the density differing in the axon in the neuron, and this will lead to cause trauma, and trauma is basically due to some reason, but here we will not understand, which that will lead to injure the cytoskeleton, and injury will progress will lead to swelling of the neuron. After the swelling of the neuron, the only bending the damage, and in this way the atrophy will occur, will lead to degradation of the neuron, and this degradation of the neuron will lead to degenerative nerve disease, and the degenerative neurogenesis will lead to cause many complications. So these all things we have discussed in this video about the peripheral nerve injury classification. I hope you make sense about this. This is the Seddon's classification only we have discussed in this video. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. Bye.